Okay, here we are on part two, and we are going to make these things into buttons. And this is the second time I record this video. The thing errored out after I did the whole thing, so I'm going to redo it. C'est la vie, right? Such is life. So here's what I want to show you. I've got the three things drawn. You drew whatever you want, right? Your shapes don't have to be like mine. It's all good. Just do something that looks good to you. I want to convert these guys into buttons, all right? And I'm going to show you how to do these, how to make them do their button thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I want to select the whole thing. Now mine right now are not grouped. You can tell because when you click them, you see that little bitmap. So when I'm clicking them one time, it's only clicking the fill. So you got to be careful. You want to click the whole thing. So if I double click it, it clicks the whole thing. Or to be safe, draw a box around it. And then I'm going to, before I convert it to a button, I'm going to group it. Make sure I got everything selected. Yeah, I do. I got the whole thing. So now I'm going to go ahead and convert it to a symbol, F8, just like in fireworks. And now, unlike in fireworks, we didn't really care like what kind of symbol, we just did F8. But now we have to be a little bit more careful. There's three types of symbols: movie clips, buttons, and graphics. We're going to work with buttons in this assignment. We'll work with movie clips and graphics later. But they're very different from each other, so it's important that you pay attention to which one you're using. We're using buttons, so I'm going to click on buttons. And I want to give it a name. Now, once you convert something into a symbol, it'll show up in your library. That's really very helpful. So it's got a little icon. Notice it? See, it's like a little button icon. And if you did, let's do the next one. Let's say you accidentally, I'm going to group it first, make sure I got it. Yep, it's good. Now I'm going to convert it into a button. If you accidentally make it a different type of symbol, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll just draw one here. Let's say I made this thing into I accidentally chose movie clip. Notice how it has a different icon that's showing you that this is not a button. So make sure you realize that. I'm going to delete that. That you make sure you click on buttons and it should look just like mine. Right, I'm going to select the whole thing. I'm going to group it. Now you don't have to do that group thing. I'm just doing that so I can verify that I didn't like miss any part of it. And now I'm going to convert it to a symbol, make it a button, and I will call it button number 3. Now I've got my 3 buttons, and now I want to edit the buttons. I want to actually make them do something. So there's 2 ways to do it. You can double click on the button itself, and it opens up into like a new window. And it's kind of weird because you still see everything else that's on your stage. That's what you call this, right? Your stage. You see it below. It's kind of been like faded out. And then the thing you're working with is here, and the timeline changed. And then it says up here, I'm in a button now. See the timeline? Or if I want to go back to the movie, I click on scene 1 and I come back. So that's one way to do it. I don't like doing it that way. I like using it over here. I come to the library itself and I double click on the icon, button 1. If you click on the name, it just allows you to change the name. But if you click on the icon, now it opens up all by itself and I don't see the other stuff underneath it. So what I want you to look at with buttons is buttons are very unique. They have these 4 hit states, they call them, these 4 states, 4 frames. There's an up, an over, a down, and a hit. So what in the world does that mean? Let me just show a quick example. Here's one from a student who made a few years back. See, he just did these simple buttons that says next. Here's the up state. It just says next. It's got black on it. Now when I roll the mouse close to it, poop, it changes to over. So the over state is what happens when the mouse rolls over the button. See what it's doing? It's kind of graying out a little bit. And then the down states when you click the button. And I'm holding the button right now. Let go. Alright, so that's up is like this, over, roll over it, down, click it. And the hit itself is kind of weird. The hit state is just, it defines the hot spot. It defines what's hot. Like this button's all hot all around it. You can do it where you have just a little bit of the buttons hot, or you could even make it kind of weird where like if you roll the mouse over on this side, it turns this on. You know, you can have a hot spot anywhere you want on your Flash stage. It's kind of weird, but you know, once in a while it comes in handy. So let's just keep it traditional. I have an up state that's like this. I'm going to come to over state. I need to change it. So I'm going to right click. Right now it's blank. That's why it's showing me nothing at all in here. You have to right click. You can insert a frame, a keyframe, or a blank keyframe. What's the difference? All right, let's do a frame first. If you insert a frame, it makes a little rectangle. A frame really doesn't do anything. It just takes what's in the state before, what's in the frame before, and it's not even copying it. It's just like allowing it to come into this frame. So it's really the same thing, exact the same thing twice. So if I were to change this, it would change it in both places. It would not just change it in the over. And I don't want that. I want it to be very unique. So it's not going to do any good for me here. So I'm going to remove that frame. Now I'm going to insert a keyframe. Oh, I'll do a blank keyframe first. So a blank keyframe makes, see how it's a circle? But notice this circle is dark. I click off of it. That means it's filled up with something. There's something inside of it. This one's empty. See, there's nothing here. So now I could draw a new circle and then make a little change to it so it'd be like a little button. But I don't even want to do that. So I'm going to clear this. Beep. And now I'm going to right click and insert a keyframe. So if you make a keyframe, what it does, see they're both black now. The keyframe will take whatever's in the frame before and it will copy it forward automatically. And now you can make a little change to it. So I want to change the color. Now if you try to change the color and when it's grouped, it's going to ignore you. So I'm going to have to ungroup it first. So I'm going to ungroup it. Then I'm going to go ahead and change it and make it say green. And let's say I want to change the edge color. I can click on the water on the eyedrop and I can make it say red. And since it's already selected, it automatically just changed it to red. So that's cool. And maybe I want to make it a little bit thicker. Boom. So now when it's up, it's like that. When I roll them out over it, it's going to go like that. And then when I click down on it, let's make it do something different. So I'm going to insert in a keyframe. I'm going to change the color. This time I'll make the color one of these funky. And then I'm going to make it smaller. So right here is the transform tool. That's going to allow me to shrink it. Using the shift key and the alt key, that's important, the alt key will grow it right from the center. I'll make it small like that. Now the hit state I'm just going to leave alone, all right? If you just ignore it, it will make the whole button hot. If you wanted to make just a little bit of it hot, you could insert a keyframe here and then you would draw a little box around the area that you wanted hot. That's kind of weird. I'm just not even worry about it. So I'm going to go back to scene 1. Now it's a button now, but I can't really tell because it doesn't do anything. So if I want to test it, the easiest way to do it is hit Control Enter on your keyboard. That will export it out and will make you allow you to test it, and there it goes. Works perfectly. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing for button 2. So I'm going to click into button 2. I'm going to insert in a keyframe, and this time I'm going to like do something funky with it. I'm going to just rotate it. So when the person rolls over, it's going to flip over, and then when they click down on it, I'm going to rotate it again, back to normal. And I'm going to change the color. So I have to ungroup it first, and then why don't I make it like red? That's cool. Oops, I didn't insert a keyframe first. That was all in the wrong. I'm going to undo that. My bad. I had to right click, insert a keyframe first. I hope you guys noticed that. And now I can go ahead and change that color. I gotta ungroup it. Dang it. Modify, ungroup. Now I can change the color. Bam, there. Okay, so that's cool. Now let's go to scene 1. Now let's try that. So I'm gonna do Control Enter. See, it flipped it. When I click on it, it went back to red. And then one more time for button 3. You can skip this part if you're good, or watch me do it. So I'm gonna insert in a keyframe. I'm gonna go ahead and rotate it a little bit. And I'm going to, then in the down state, insert a keyframe. I'll rotate it a little bit more. And I'm going to make it small again. Or this time I'll make it big. I'm going to use the Shift and Alt key, make it a little bigger. And then for the hit state, I'm just going to ignore it again. I'm not going to mess with the hit state. You guys, if you want to play around with that hit state, play around and see how it does. Boom. When I click it, boom, it goes big. Cool. So my 3 buttons, they all work. They're sweet. Everything's good. So now I need to link it up. This is an important part of the video. Don't stop now. Keep watching. How do you link this up to your Dreamweaver? You cannot link up this red flash file. Oh, by the way, I need to save this. Remember, keep saving your flash file a lot. So you need to export it. Now you could go up to here to File, Export Movie. You could do all that. It's just, I'm going to show you the easiest way. You've already done it. You just press Control Enter like that. Boom. It automatically exported it for you, and it made a little preview. So you can do that when you're all done. It's going to call it the same exact name that your file is called. So it's called Buttons1, Buttons1. So it'll be easy for you to find. It'll be right wherever you saved your file. So I'm going to go ahead and close this. This is very, very important. Before you link it up, you have to close this little preview, this little silver box. If you do not close it, it will not link up right. So then I'm going to come over to Dreamweaver. I'm going to start a new page, basic HTML page, create it. I'm going to save this page. I'm going to put it in my Flash folder. Okay, so in your web design, find your Flash folder. Hopefully you made it. See, there's my Flash buttons I already have. Now, or actually I did this preview. I'm going to call it Flash button 1 underscore 1 because I already did one, so I'll just save it. I'll just save it over, whatever. Save it there. Sure. I'd done it before when my video crashed. And now when I link it up, come over here in my Flash folder. Boom. I'm going to refresh it. Sometimes you have to refresh it if you don't see it, but here it is. Here's the FLA file. That's the one for Flash. That's do not link that one up. This is the one you link up, the SWF, and you just drag and drop it on a Dreamweaver. There it is. And it does that. It just looks like it's weird. You can play it. You can preview by pressing play. Okay, you may remember that from way back in Dreamweaver 1 and 2. We did that. We worked a little bit with Flash files, ones that were already made. So now it's done. So I'm going to save it again. I'm going to open up my home page. I won't show you that part. I'm going to link it up, and then I'm going to upload everything to BlueCube. So hopefully you guys can do that part on your own. Good luck. Hopefully this recording works.